How you doing? So I'm not sure if you realize it. We are in Berlin here, Michelle and I, and we're here for the Nearmine Intensive in Berlin coming this weekend. We're doing a little tour right now. So we have our own private tour guide. Her name is Bettina. She's been awesome. And Bettina was talking to us about something very, very special, and it was literally this meeting about how to divide Berlin. And I wanted you to get it straight from her because it was very interesting in how the whole decision to bomb Japan came in. So this is Bettina. Just tell us a little bit about what happened. There was this meeting in was it Potsdam, and where that was?
Yes, this meeting was in Potsdam. The Second World War came to an end in May 1945, and after all the battles stopped here in Berlin and in Germany, the Russians, the British, and the Americans met to come to a conclusion what to do with Germany. And this happened in Potsdam, a city about 30 kilometers from Berlin. And there met Mr. Stalin from the Soviets, Mr. Truman from the Americans, and Mr. Churchill from the British. The great problem with this conference was that Mr. Truman was new. Mr. Roosevelt had just died some months before. And the next problem was that Mr. Churchill could not be with this conference for the whole period of 2 weeks, because in between these 2 weeks of this conference they had elections, and Mr. Churchill was not re-elected. So he disappeared, and Mr. Attlee showed up. So the only one that was there the whole conference was Mr. Stalin. This gave him, of course, a lot of power.
And that's why he ended up taking, when he was kind of in charge of that conference now and had a lot more power, so he ended up taking all the historical areas of Berlin. I had asked her, why is it like we're touring mostly East Berlin versus West Berlin? She says, well, all the historical important things was taken by Stalin in that agreement.
And the second reason, of course, is he did the battle, the Russians, the Soviet army did the battle in Berlin, not the Americans or British. There was an agreement between the Americans and the Russians that the Americans stopped on the west side of the river Elbe, a very famous river, and that the Russians should take Berlin. So the Russians took Berlin, and they lost about 40,000 soldiers. Can you imagine this? 40,000 soldiers. We have huge cemeteries here, 3 huge cemeteries in Berlin. Very interesting with this typical Soviet art on top, where those soldiers lie buried because they couldn't bring them back to Russia.
So one of the other things I wanted you guys to recognize was that there was, in this conference, was a really important conference, and it was during that time that Harry S. Truman made a very, very important decision. What was that decision that he made?
The war, as I told you, was over in Europe, but the war was not over in Asia.
So what happened with the story, is that there was a World War, and it was the Allies against the Germans, but it was the Japanese were really on the German side, the Nazi side, I should say, mostly because they were very powerful at the time, and they wanted to take over more and more land, and they wanted to take over the world also, just the way the Nazis wanted to do it. So in respect, they were fighting on 2 fronts. So she's saying that the war was over in Europe, but it was not over in Japan.
So during this conference of Potsdam in July-August 1945, in consequence of the fact that the Japanese did not give up, did not stop this war in Asia, Mr. Truman decided in Potsdam to throw the first nuclear bomb. So the decision was made in Potsdam, which makes this place here even more serious. But of course we can understand that he made this decision because he could estimate if they would not throw the atomic bomb to force the Japanese to give up, the Americans would have lost at least 1 million soldiers to conquer Japan. It was not possible.
Great. So how's that? That's pretty interesting. I didn't know a lot of this stuff, but obviously, as you can see here, you take a look at the whole square over here. This entire area, everything you see here was completely destroyed by bombs. And one of the things that we're finding very interesting is that when Germany is rebuilt, and a lot of this has been mostly rebuilt over the last 20 years, when they build things, it's not like normally in America. The thing is that in America and in Canada, very often there's something old, and we don't like it, throw it down, and we build something brand new, or it's just a real historical site. Well, and it's but there's no bombing that occurred there. Here, just all these things were in shambles, you know, just little columns and stuff left. And what they do here is that they try to keep as much of the old structure as was, and then build in addition to it. So a lot of the buildings have you know, places where you can see where the bombing even occurred, and where the old was, and the new is added to it in order to preserve the history of it. And right now we're in front of a very, very famous hotel. This hotel is called Hotel Adelon, and this was one of the most prevalent and famous hotels before the war, right? So it's a beautiful hotel, and one of the things they have there is afternoon tea. And I was just about to take a shot of it, but let us know not to take pictures because, and there's signs up because a lot of celebrities come because it's very important. So, but we'll get you some afternoon tea pictures at our hotel.